This video is going to be a quick market update for the city of Norman. We're going to take a look at one particular piece of data and discuss what it means for both buyers and sellers, so that if you're considering buying or selling a home in Norman, Oklahoma, you can make the most informed decision based on the most recent data. And the piece of data that we're going to take a look at today is the number of days on market. This helps us know how long homes are sitting on the market on average when they are listed for sale. Now, the latest data I have at the time I'm recording this video, which is in April of 2025, is actually from the month of March, because the way the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service, reports data is it's actually a month in arrears. So on the first of each month, we get the data for the previous month, meaning on May 1st of 2025, we'll have all the data for April. So the data we're going to look at today is actually from March, but it can help us see what the trend is in this particular area that we're taking a look at. So looking at the average number of days on market for March 2025 in Norman, that number was 55. So on average, homes for sale in Norman were on the market for 55 days before they went under contract. Now that is down from February of 2025, when the average number of days on market was 68. So it came down by nearly 2 weeks from February to March of this year. And that is a typical indicator that we might expect as we move into the spring market. Really, from about March to July or August is the peak of the real estate market every year. It's a cycle that we can predict almost like the weather. And although the weather in Oklahoma is not very predictable, so maybe that's not a great analogy. But we expect the market to heat up from March all the way through the summer every single year. And so we might expect those days on market to come down, as we saw from February to March. However, what's interesting is that even though we are in the spring market right now, we're still looking at a longer number of average days on market for the month of March than we've had in quite some time in this market. You can see that visually represented on this chart. This 55 days on market is still longer than what we had in January of 2025, when the average number of days on market was 49. Now, January is typically one of the slowest months in real estate. It's cold. There aren't a lot of people making moves in January, and yet we still had fewer days on market by 16 days in January than we had in March. And going back further on the timeline, you can see that the previous months, those numbers are even lower. And certainly as we get back into 2022 and even further, things were moving much quicker at that time when we were in a lower interest rate environment, etc. Let's move this chart back to 5 years. And where's March of 2020? Right here is where the pandemic began and where the housing market really started to get crazy. If you've been paying attention to what the housing market has done over the last several years, then you know that as a result of the response to the pandemic and interest rates coming down, there was just an absolute feeding frenzy on homes. And so you see that number of days on market just start to plummet right there until it bottomed out at 10 days in July of 2021 for the city of Norman. So homes were only on the market on average for a week and a half back then. But again, we're currently sitting at 55, which is a whole lot longer. And if we go back even further, let's see, when were we last at 55 days or more in the city of Norman? February of 2020, so right before the pandemic started. So it's been quite some time since we've seen houses sitting on the market this long in Norman, even though they have come down some since February. And I think there are a couple of things at play here. One is that we are still in sort of a higher interest rate environment. If you've been paying attention to interest rates, they've been kind of bouncing around that 7% range. They did come down briefly at the beginning of the year, but they've since kind of crept back up, and we're still sitting in that 6.75% to 7% range, which is keeping a lot of buyers on the sidelines. There's also a lot more inventory available right now, and that is giving buyers more options, which is also playing into the reality that homes are sitting on the market longer. There's also some uncertainty economically with all of the things that have been happening recently with tariffs. It's going to be interesting to see what the April data looks like, as that's when the tariffs were rolled out and really a lot of the uncertainty in the market increased. And so we'll take a look at that data when that comes out. But all of that to say, again, homes are sitting on the market longer right now than they have in quite some time. And so if you're a seller, that means you've got to absolutely put your best foot forward. You've got to have your marketing on point. Your home's condition has to be great, not just for pictures on the MLS listing, but also when buyers come to tour your home. It needs to look nice. It needs to smell nice. It needs to be tidy and clean. You've got to make a great first impression. And most importantly, you've got to have the home priced correctly. It's got to be priced based on data, based on a comparative market analysis prepared by a real estate professional, and not just a zestimate. In other words, we're not just pricing on vibes. We've got to get our price dialed in and maybe even lean towards being a little bit aggressive with the price if you want to stand out in this market, because the reality is buyers just have more options. They have more choices right now. And that's good news for you if you're a buyer looking in this area. Homes are sitting on the market longer. And so if you see a home, particularly if you're looking in the Norman area and you notice that it's around that 55-day mark or more, you might have a bit of leverage with your negotiation because that home has been sitting on the market longer than what the average is for the area. And so knowing this data can give you a strategic advantage as a buyer in this market, because you understand that on average homes are going under contract within 55 days. So if you see a home that's sitting out there that's been on the market for 65 days, you might have some leverage in the offer that you make. That's all that I'm going to cover in today's market update. I know this video style is a little bit different than what I typically do. Leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about this video. Do you like this style? Do you want to see more videos like this? And if you're thinking about buying or selling in the Norman area, or maybe some other part of the Oklahoma City metro, whether that's in Oklahoma City or one of the surrounding suburbs, reach out to me and let's have a conversation and just see whether or not we'd be a good fit to work together. I know I'm not the agent for everyone, but I'd be happy to have a 15-minute call, a strategy session with you, and see how we might be able to work together to help you realize your real estate goals. That's all I've got for now. Hope you have a great rest of your day. If you need anything, my contact information is down below, and we'll talk soon. See ya.